All right, I got it.
All right, so you guys, I wanted us to go ahead and start with the peer reviews for task two, and then we'll go into our case studies. And this session will have to be another session since these are only recorded at 40-minute intervals. The links are required for for all of the assignments, so I just wanted to be clear about that. And I'm sorry for all the reschedules and the mishaps that have been going on. But hopefully, after this week, we'll be all caught up and we can kind of move forward together as a team. So I'm going to go ahead and ask Christy to provide her peer feedback. I may get up and get something out of the fridge, so if you don't see me in the frame, I'm still here. I'm just kind of foraging for food. But let's go ahead and start. Christy, you're up.
Okay. All right. So I'll start with Miss Tamara. I did first. And I said that the content is aligned with the course content and is appropriate. A strength in the narrative is the use of the survey data to support strengths on campus. The candidate is also proficient in citing best practices from the literature review. And I also thought the candidate is proficient in analyzing the gap analysis to create a needs assessment. I saw a lot of your reflection on the needs for each of the categories. And for an area of weakness, the only thing that I could put in there that I found was just minor grammatical issues that were not, and just going through and doing a review before you submit for the final is the only thing I came up with. I thought that leadership was demonstrated at a proficient level in the development of the survey, in completing walkthroughs, as well as in holding your PLC meetings. I put that the evidence narrative is written professionally with formal language with minimal errors in grammar. The evidence narrative is structured in a logical manner. There are a few issues with spacing, and that may have been when you downloaded it. I just thought you might want to go back and look. There was one place in particular where it looked like it was spaced down about 8 or 9 spaces before the subtitle. And then the in-text citation is correct and graphics are labeled. And I didn't know if you wanted to go back and label figures for your tables.
I am. I'm going to provide I noticed that I put it in, but I didn't have time to put the descriptor in.
I just thought,
I think my goal was more to try to give a comprehensive, well, basically draft, because I remember that time that I posted the wrong piece. And because I had posted the wrong one and half of it was gone, my grade was like a 40.
yeah.
And he was like, you need to redo this. So this time I wanted to make sure that I had addressed everything. So,
Yeah.
lesson learned.
Just a reminder for that. And then Miss Frida, I did yours as well. And I said the task content is aligned with course content and is appropriate. The candidate for strength is proficient at citing her best practices from literature review sources. The candidate analyzes the gap analysis for some sections, but for weakness, I put that I wasn't sure that consistently you had a need that was identified in each section. So I didn't know if that was just me and my reading, if I was overlooking it in there. Then for leadership, the candidate is accomplished in demonstrating leadership, specifically in the development of the survey, the walkthrough materials, as well as holding PLC meetings and communicating information to the staff. Because I saw multiple places in the narrative where you had talked about your communication with different staff members. The evidence narrative is written professionally using formal language with minimal grammatical mistakes. Review before submitting, just a reminder. The evidence narrative is structured in a logical manner, and the content is labeled and easy to follow. The in-text citations are correct, and figures are labeled correctly. That was everything that I had there. Frida, any questions?
No, thank you. I'll definitely go back and look at that needs part. Thank you.
Okay.
All right, very good. So let's move on. Go ahead and offer us your peer review, Salima.
Okay. So I'm gonna go to Frida first. Frida, yes, the task content is aligned with the course content. You also did a good job with staying on topic and supporting your facts in the narrative. The areas of strength is the building of efficacy and empowerment among staff section of your text. The candidate did a good job with referencing the sources identified in the literature review when it was appropriate. The area of weakness in the results is the results from the walkthrough and the checklist. It's hard to see. And also, I think you have a section where you have results from the survey, but then it's just blank. You don't have anything. The chart is not filled in. And you were also missing the need assessment. I didn't see that as well. As Christy had mentioned, I didn't really see the needs in each category that you were thinking that the school needed to improve on. Leadership is demonstrated because the candidate used the teacher empowerment and leadership checklist to collect data in the school and discuss the results. And the evidence is written professionally and follows the rubric. There are some grammar mistakes such as spacing, run-on sentences, and verb tense agreements. The evident narrative. Sorry, lost my place. The evident narrative is structured in a professional manner. Headings and subheadings are clearly presented, and evidence is easy to locate. Also, the structure of the narrative follows the guidelines of the template that was provided. The format follows the APA format, and the author cited evidence correctly. Do you have any questions, Frida?
No, thank you.
Okay. And Christy, the content is aligned with the course content. You did a great job of staying on topic and supporting your facts and your narrative. The area of strength is your data collection section of the text. The candidate did a great job using graph charts and tables to conduct a gap analysis that demonstrates the difference between the actual practice and the best practice. The area of weakness is missing the needs assessment. As an instruction, it states that once the gap between the practices in the school and the best practices have been identified, the candidate will create a need assessment. I just wanted to point that out as far as for the rubric scoring, because again, I know the professor just been saying excellent. Leadership is demonstrated because the candidate used the teacher empowerment and leadership checklist to collect the data in the school, and you discuss the results with your team. The evidence is written professionally and follows the rubric. There are just a few grammar mistakes. The evidence narrative is structured in a professional manner. Headings and subheadings are clearly presented, and evidence is easy to locate. Any questions, Christy? Any questions?
Sorry, I had myself muted. I was talking to I appreciate you saying that, because I felt like I was missing something and I couldn't figure out what it was. And I just gave up and submitted it. So going back and addressing the needs assessment, that's what I needed to hear.
Okay.
Awesome. Okay. So next, I'm going to go ahead and ask Frida to provide her feedback for her 2 peer reviews.
Well, I did a peer review for Tamara Hall, and for the first part of yes, the task content is aligned with the course content and uses external sources appropriately. For the area of strength, I felt like you did a great job using the checklist to provide detailed information regarding school needs and the results in comparison to the district results. And your narrative was just, it read so extremely well. It was a definite strength. For a weak area, I don't know, I think it was just like a spacing. It looked like it was like you started to write a narrative around one of the graphs or something, but the space, I guess it was a spacing thing, and it looked like something was missing. So, but other than that, I mean, I did, that's the only thing I noted for a weakness, but I think that was just a spacing. And leadership is exhibited via the narrative. Candidates' ability to relate research information to all areas throughout the narrative and ability to specify areas of needs. And school culture according to elements included in the checklist and the survey. And for the evidence, narrative is written professionally. Yes, it utilizes formal language. And just in general, I always put that encouraged to review the narrative to ensure the correction corrections, including grammar and spelling. The narrative is logical and well organized, and evidence is easy to locate. And the subheadings and headings were presented clearly. And just encouragement to review the narrative to ensure the citations and figures and everything are labeled correctly, and using APA format correctly.
All right.
And I also did a review for Kristen. So yes, the content is in line with the course content and uses the external sources appropriately. You did a great job using the checklist to provide detailed information and identifying the school's needs, as well as best practices implemented and consistent throughout the school setting. We presented clearly labeled charts and tables. I lost my place. But for the weakness, at one point it looked like a paragraph that was just like it was gray, like the color was different. But I couldn't really tell if that was my computer or if that was actually what it looked like. But that's the only thing that I noted for a weakness. Leadership is exhibited through the narrative and your ability to relate research information to the practices exhibited in your academic setting. And the narrative does utilize formal language. Just encouragement to review for corrections needed for grammar and spelling. It's logical and well organized, and evidence is easily to find and is clearly presented. And just encouragement to review citations and figures to make sure everything is labeled correctly and APA format is used correctly throughout the narrative.
Thank you, Frida.
That's all I have.
All right, sounds good.
You're muted, Tamara.
You're muted, Tamara. There you go.
Okay. All right. There we go. So I'm last up. And I had the pleasure of actually reviewing Frida's work. Frida, I know that you work in a non-traditional setting. So while I'm giving this feedback, I wanted to offer some suggestions on how you could kind of curate Count Two, because I was thinking about that while I was reading your work today at lunch. So first off, I do think your task is aligned with the course content, but you struggled to address the second part of the prompt, which was to graphically display your answers, or your analysis. I think you did a good job of incorporating more skills on teacher efficacy, describing the working conditions at your school, because I understand that, there's one portion where you said that the teachers were frustrated with time because they felt like their lessons were repeatedly interrupted. The weakness, you cite your survey results, but I don't know what the survey is actually included. I know you included that in task 1, but the results themselves, like perhaps you could add some questions. You have the survey, but not the actual percentage of, the answers, who agreed, who disagreed, or if they had to add offer their own responses, you didn't necessarily include those. I put here the candidate does not provide adequate data to support the conclusions. For example, the candidate states they also believe numerous interruptions are great factors that impede their ability to provide direct instruction in the classroom on a consistent basis. So I asked, how was this information gathered? And what percentage of teachers would actually agree to this statement? To ensure students also are there for a wellness factor portion as well. And I looked back and I kind of read through your summary, and even though you all are a school, they honestly would say that the mission itself is about wellness. And I think one of the strengths that you could really talk about here is the teacher's ability to do very much untraditional classes. What I mean by that is that a class doesn't have to start and stop at a certain time. You all can actually go ahead and do certain things that work. Like for instance, if you felt like afternoon classes work better because people were more cognizant, you could shift some of your classes to the afternoon and have teachers planning periods in the morning. Also, I did say that the narrative demonstrates developing leadership. It includes information that addresses prompt one, but you might want to add some more data or information from your survey in prompt two. And then, of course, I said the narrative utilizes formal language. Once your run-on sentences and your grammatical errors are corrected, I think it will really read well. And of course, the evidence was very easy to locate in your structure. That's because we're forced to follow the template. And then your APA formatting is used with minimal errors. I wanted to point out to you that there's a font color inconsistency on the reference page. Some of it is automatic, meaning the black font color, and the rest is kind of like light shade. It can be difficult to read. So that's something that I wanted to offer you. The other portion is that as students cycle in and cycle out, do you all ever take any kind of student surveys when they come in?
You said, do we take surveys from the students as they come in and out? No, we usually don't. Because sometimes the way they're discharged, we might not even have opportunity to see them.
Okay.
So yeah, we don't. And then depending on which student it is, they might not have the ability to respond to complete a survey, if that makes sense.
Yes, it does. It does. But I thought I said the benefit of working in an atmosphere like yours is that there is an overwhelming support system for social and emotional wellness.
Mm-hmm.
And I think a lot of you all could kind of capitalize that. Like, I don't know what your schedule structure is, but perhaps that could be something that you include in your needs assessment. It's just a thought.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. And then, of course, my other person was Mrs. Halima.
Okay.
Okay. So let me go ahead and pull this up. Halima, I thought you did a great job aligning your course content and using your external sources. I really think you did a good job of that. I saw your checklist and your observation instrument, and I liked how your instrument reflected something quantitative, not just qualitative data. You did a wonderful job of relating your walkthrough observations to the North Carolina Teacher Evaluation Standards, and then relate the information back to your literature review. That was a definite strength in your task two. One suggestion I have is you should consider relating your needs assessment to the teacher observation by describing trend data in detail. And I was just thinking about the overall atmosphere of your school, you know, how you all were definitely trying to improve. What are the trends? Because if you can capitalize on the trend data, then there will be some kind of professional development that you can really drive home to the school improvement team and construct a school action plan through that. Though the candidate shares the walkthrough and assigns a quantitative value, there are no literal notes or feedback included. I think you should try and include some literal notes and talk about what you see. Was the classroom management still an issue? Because you said previously, you know, you all had issues with that that facet. Does it continue to be an issue that must be addressed? And then, of course, I thought your narrative definitely demonstrated leadership. You compiled a lot of information and the documents to discuss with the school improvement team members. But that's a lot going on. I just realized that was a lot in thinking about the fact that this was an elementary school. And then, of course, the mechanics and grammar. You do use formal language. And I think once you go ahead and address those grammatical errors, it will read better and it will flow. I think you should also consider separating the figures for an easier read. I know you have a lot of charts and tables, but I really struggled with that, knowing when to separate or when the data was separate. I do think the narrative closely follows the template structure and the evidence is easy to locate. And of course, your APA formatting is used with errors. The reference section, you might want to review that. And I would add the appendices. I put appendixes and it should be appendices in addition. And I think all your tables should have the details to the description. And that's just so people know automatically what they're looking at.
Thank you. That was some great feedback.
So I'm trying to do better with this session with feedback, and the reason for that is because sometimes the feedback I receive on the forum and the discussion thread is not sufficient. Because I was really hoping for some guiding feedback on this task, and I just don't think I got a lot of that. So, but I wanted to thank you all. You did an excellent job. Thank you for being so willing to change your schedules. I know we were supposed to do this Sunday, and here it is Monday night. But I think it gave us enough time to actually produce something, and I'll keep chugging away. So, did anyone have anything else that they wanted to discuss about this task?
No, I think I'm good.
Okay. Christy, did you have anything else since you unmuted yourself?
No, I'm just, just trying to figure it out, and I'm kind of going back and forth and looking at everybody's stuff as a guide, because that's really pretty much the only thing I know to do to try to figure it out. So I just keep dipping into the well and seeing how everybody else is doing.
How we're doing with it, yeah.
So that's all I know to do to because that's, unless we know what to do, and if we're all not sure what to do, I think that's all we can do is rely on each other and just try to figure it out.
Because I realized that mine, after I submitted it, I looked back over it today as I was doing those peer reviews and scarfing down my lunch at the same time. I realized that I really need to go back and put a few more hours worth of work into the task. Proofread it. I really need to go back and discuss more of my walkthrough data. I want to share my survey results, but then again, I don't, because some of them were a bit raw.
Mm-hmm.
So I was just thinking about all of that in the process as well.
Mm-hmm.
As we were dealing with the task too, I may ask, after I clean it up, I may just go ahead and ask Dr. Stedman if he would give me, a little of his time to reread it and see if I can get some more feedback before I went into task 3.
Yeah.
Because after, task 3 is literally the last task.
Yeah.
And after I submit this, I don't want to have to go back and look at it again. That's my thing.
I know.
It needs to be over.
Yeah, I know. I understand completely. I agree with you.
Go ahead.
If we're good, I can stop the recording. I don't know how much time we have left. I can't see.
No, it hasn't told us yet, so we must be doing pretty good.
Yeah.
Let's go ahead and stop the recording, and I'll give you all a couple minutes to pull up your case study information.